In 1935, an African mystic secretly recorded a song with 3 words so dangerous that he never dared to publish them in any book. Years later, a completely ruined man repeated them silently for less than a month and won $36,788 in a single day. But Abdullah issued a brutal warning. If you tell anyone, the power disappears. Stop what you're doing. If there's someone near you, put on headphones. If you're in a public place, save this video and watch it when you're completely alone. Because what I'm going to show you in the next few minutes requires total secrecy. Abdullah, the man who taught 2 of the greatest manifestation masters in history, repeated one idea with such intensity that it even made his students uncomfortable. Silence multiplies power.
La palabra compartida es una semilla que muere antes de brotar.
But before I reveal those 3 words to you, I need you to put your mind in the right state to receive them. Because Abdullah taught something uncomfortable, but true. The most powerful words in the universe can pass right in front of you and do absolutely nothing if your internal state isn't ready. It's like trying to fill a glass that's turned upside down. The water falls, but it doesn't go in. So do this right now. Put your left hand on your stomach, right on the solar plexus. It's the place where you feel real emotions, not the fake ones to look good. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath 3 times. Slowly, with intention, and with each breath, repeat mentally. I am that I am. I am the creative power. But don't think of it as a parrot repeating empty phrases. Feel it. Feel that energy igniting inside you. Feel it like an ancient fire awakening within you. Do it now. 3 breaths, 3 repetitions. Eyes closed, hand on your solar plexus. Did you do it? Good. Because you just silently pronounced the Hebrew name of God, Egye Asher Egye, I am that I am. The same name that Abdullah taught to Neville Goddard as the key that opens invisible doors. And your solar plexus has just registered that vibration. Now that's it. Are you ready to receive? Write this exact phrase in the comments. My silence is my power. It is done. Write it as a pact between you and the universe. A pact that says, what I receive today I will keep secret. What I feel today I will protect with silence. And that silence will multiply my manifestation. Do it now. Because Abdullah said that the first act of faith decides whether the words you hear today will take root or evaporate like pretty internet smoke. What you're about to discover didn't come from a modern self-help book. It doesn't come from a social media guru with a rented smile. It wasn't born in a motivational conference with lights and recycled phrases. It comes from a real man who lived almost 100 years ago in a small room in New York. A man shrouded in mystery for decades. He never sought fame. He never published books. He never gave interviews. And yet his teachings ended up becoming the root of almost everything that is known today as manifestation, the law of attraction, and the power of the subconscious. His name was Abdullah. For almost a century, many doubted his existence. Some historians tried to find evidence and failed. The skeptics claimed that he was a fictional character.
Hasta que en 2025 apareció
Something that changed everything. Official copyright records from 1935 linked to an address in New York.
30 West 72nd Street.
Songs registered by Abdullah. 9. And among those titles, there was one that was especially disturbing. That is me. In Spanish, eso soy yo. 3 real words, documented, officially recorded, and according to those who studied his legacy, those 3 words hid the most powerful secret that Abdullah ever taught. A secret connected with the ancient Hebrew wisdom of Ehyeh.
Con el sánscrito Tatvamasi y con la ley de asunción que transformó
The lives of millions of people around the world. But to understand the true power of those three words, you first need to know who the man was that conveyed them, because not everyone can speak such truth. It takes an extraordinary life, and Abdullah's life seemed like it was written by someone who got carried away with their imagination. He was born in North Africa to Jewish parents and grew up in a strict Orthodox household. He spoke Hebrew fluently, mastered other languages, and knew the deepest mysteries of the Kabbalah, that mystical tradition that claims to hold the very secrets of creation.
Rabinos de toda Nueva York iban a verlo, no para enseñarle, para aprender de él.
Abdullah mastered the scriptures with a depth that defied all logic. Neville Goddard once said, he knew more about Christianity than all the priests in the world combined. In the 1920s, Abdullah opened a small teaching center at 30 West 72nd Street in Manhattan. There were no bright signs, no marketing, no cheap promises, just a discreet room where a small group of seekers gathered to hear truths that most people would never come to know. Abdullah felt a deep pride in his heritage. He had an imposing presence, the kind of person who enters a room and the energy changes. He didn't need to raise his voice. There was something about him so solid, so inward, so real, that many claimed to leave transformed after being near him. And now comes the part that changes everything. Abdullah only trained two main students, two men who would later become major spiritual figures of the 20th century. Neville Goddard, whose teachings on the law of assumption impacted millions, and Joseph Murphy, author of The Power of the Subconscious Mind, a book that sold millions of copies in dozens of languages. Two giants, one single teacher. And now here we go, the three secret words. The words he guarded with absolute secrecy, the same ones he recorded in a song in 1935 but never released to the public. The same ones he shared only in a low voice with his closest students inside that room in Manhattan. The three words are, that is me. It sounds too simple, right? Almost suspiciously simple. And that's where most people fail. The most powerful truths rarely come disguised as unnecessary complexity. For Abdullah, this wasn't just a common phrase. It was a creative decree. It was the Spanish version of the Sanskrit Tattvamasi. You are that. It was the echo of the Hebrew Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. I am who I am. It was one of the oldest and most powerful statements a human being can make. Abdullah taught that when you see what you desire, wealth, longing, prosperity, success, and you silently say, that is me, you are doing something that almost no one does. You are not wishing to possess it. You are not begging for it to come. You are not waiting for a cosmic sign delayed by bureaucracy. You're affirming you already are that. There is no separation between you and what you desire. That you and your desire share the same identity. And when you declare it with true conviction, your subconscious mind receives it not as a fantasy, but as a fact, not as hope, not as a request, as an inner reality. And when the subconscious accepts something as a fact, the external world begins to reorganize itself to reflect it. Now listen to this documented story. It's not a legend, it's not hype. It's not some motivational thread online. It's found in Chapter 5 of the book The Law and the Promise by Neville Goldberg, where there are real testimonies from people who applied teachings received directly from Abdullah. A man was financially ruined. He urgently needed money. He had tried conventional methods and nothing worked. So he decided to apply the exact method. Every morning, every afternoon, every night, he would sit in silence and imagine a specific scene. He pictured himself facing
A su escritorio, dividiendo
the money in 12 piles. He counted the money with his imaginary hands. He put $1,000 in 11 piles and $533 in the last one. Total $36,533. He didn't tell anyone. not his wife, not his friends, not even the typical acquaintance who has an opinion about everything but never achieves anything. He kept absolutely silent, just as Abdullah taught. He repeated it for less than a minute, without hesitation, without doubt, without saying too much, and each session ended with the same internal affirmation. That's me. I am the man who has that money. I'm the one who counts those profits. That which I see, that is me. Then it happened. On March 2nd, he went to the Caliente races. He placed his bets as usual, but something strange happened. Without knowing why, he duplicated 6 of the original tickets. And on the 10th selection, he made a mistake, and he duplicated 2 more tickets. When they announced the winners, he had 2 winning tickets. Each one paid $16,423.50. In addition, he had 6 consolation tickets worth $656.80 each. The combined total, $36,788. A month earlier, he had imagined $36,533. The difference was minimal. The accuracy was absurd. The difference was only $255. Imagination reproduced the amount with an almost uncanny accuracy. And this is documented. It's not a motivational fable. It's not a story embellished to sell hope. It's a real testimony published in the work of Neville Goddard, and it represents exactly what Abdullah declares, that is me, with total conviction. And you keep it absolutely secret. The subconscious accepts it as truth and starts moving invisible pieces to manifest it. Now comes a key question. Why was the secret sacred? Why did Abdullah insist so firmly on silence? Why did Abdullah warn his students never to reveal what they were creating? Why was keeping silent not optional, but essential? Why did Abdullah insist so firmly? Did he understand something that ancient spiritual traditions have repeated for centuries? When you share your manifestation with someone, you invite their consciousness into your creation. And the average consciousness usually comes loaded with doubts, fears, limitations, skepticism, and unsolicited opinions that nobody asked for. Every time someone says that's impossible, don't be ridiculous, that doesn't happen in real life, or simply looks at you with disbelief, that energy enters your process and weakens your inner assumption. Abdullah taught Neville a comparison that Neville would repeat for decades. Your manifestation is like a sacred pregnancy. When a woman becomes pregnant, life grows in secret, in silence, in darkness, protected from the outside. If someone were to intervene before the right time, they would destroy that delicate process. Your new identity is that embryo. Other people's opinions are impatient hands trying to touch what still needs to mature. That's why Abdullah was inflexible. Don't tell anyone, not your partner, not your best friend, not your mother, not the group's frustration expert. No one. Guard your vision with the same reverence with which a mother protects the life growing inside her. And when the manifestation is born in the physical world, when the money appears, when the opportunity arrives, when the invisible becomes visible, then you will be able to share the joy. But never before. Never before. Now, the secret 3-word method. I'm going to show you the exact process that Abdullah taught in private, the same pattern that produced results over and over again. Step 1, the final vision. Before you start, you need to know exactly what you want to manifest, not something vague like I want money. That's not enough. How much money? When? What for? How would it feel to have it already? Abdullah was strict about this. He used to say, if you don't know exactly what you want, how do you expect your subconscious to build it? It's like asking an architect to design something without telling him what kind of building you want. Define the exact amount. Fix it in your mind as something already settled. Step 2, the silent declaration. Every night, right before you go to sleep, when your mind enters that point between wakefulness and sleep, what Neville called the the state akin to sleep. Close your eyes and visualize a scene that implies you already have it. If it's money, imagine yourself counting it. If it's success, imagine yourself celebrating it. If it's abundance, imagine yourself living in it naturally. And while you inhabit that scene in your mind, repeat internally with real emotion, "That's who I am. I am the one who has that money. I am the one who experiences that victory. I already inhabit that abundance. That's who I am." But don't repeat it like a spiritual robot. Feel it. Let it enter every cell. Abdullah taught that feeling turns words into creative decrees. Without emotion, deep words are empty sounds. With true emotion, they are fires reorganizing reality. Step 3, the seal of silence. After feeling it as real, do what he considered sacred. Seal the experience with silence. Mentally say, "This is sealed within me. I won't say anything about what I just made. My silence is my power. My secret is my strength. And then to me."
No con ansiedad, no con desesperación. No revisan
Every 5 minutes, if he's arrived yet. Sleep with the calm of someone who knows the law works, with the peace of someone who understands that your manifestation is already underway, as inevitable as the sunrise. The woman who lost everything and got everything back. Now listen to another story. Here I go. I am the one who...
el alma. Neville Goddard la contó con lágrimas en los ojos durante una de sus conferencias más íntimas. Era una mujer
55 years old. He had lost his job. He had no family to turn to. His car was in such bad shape that it was practically falling apart on its own. He owed rent. He didn't have proper clothes to go to interviews. His bank account was almost empty. And in the 1960s, a 55-year-old woman looking for a job faced a world that often closed doors before even listening to her. She was in one of those moments when everything seems to fall apart at the same time, but she attended lectures. She had been going to Neville's lectures for almost a year. She had listened to the teachings that Neville received from Abdullah, and desperation did what it sometimes does better than comfort. It forced her to truly try them. She had nothing to lose. Literally nothing. At first, she tried to imagine each need separately. A new car, decent clothes, a job, money for rent, security. But the list was so long that every night I ended up exhausted, nervous, and unable to sleep. That method just didn't work. Then she did something brilliant. She simplified. Exactly as Abdullah would have recommended. Instead of chasing every problem one by one, she chose a single idea.
a raíz. Cada noche, al acostar,
and repeated it with deep feeling. Something wonderful is happening to me now, nothing else. He let himself be swept up by the sense that something extraordinary was already happening. He didn't know what. He didn't know how. He didn't know where it would come from. He just felt that this new reality already existed. That's who I am. I'm a woman to whom wonderful things happen. That's my identity. That's my truth. She repeated it every night for 2 months, without telling anyone, in absolute silence, with absolute faith. One day in October, she happened to run into an acquaintance she hadn't seen in months. They spoke briefly. He said he'd be traveling to New York. She mentioned that she had lived there years ago. They talked briefly, and each one went their own way. She completely forgot about that encounter. 30 days later, exactly 1 month later, that same man appeared at her apartment door. He was carrying a certified check in her name for $2,500. She froze. He explained the following to her. An old millionaire friend, whom she hadn't seen in more than 25 years, had decided to share part of his fortune among people he remembered fondly. And she was on that list. But there was a problem. That man didn't know where to find her. That chance encounter made the connection possible, and it didn't end there. After that first check, monthly payments arrived that were enough to live comfortably, without working, without asking for help, without begging, without chasing anything. For only 2 months, in secret and in silence, he maintained a new identity. Something wonderful is happening to me. That is who I am. I am a woman blessed with abundance. This is documented in Chapter 7 of The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard. It's not fiction. It's not dressed up fantasy. It's a real testimony shared as evidence of the law in action. Now let's get to the core of all this. Why do these 3 words work? Abdullah taught that only one fundamental substance exists in the universe. Consciousness, your consciousness. My consciousness, divine consciousness. Not separate. A single reality expressing itself in multiple forms. And when you say that's me, you're activating one of the deepest powers of consciousness, identification. Think about it carefully. Your subconscious doesn't mainly respond to what you beg for. It doesn't respond to what you anxiously hope for. It responds to what you assume yourself to be. It responds to your identity, to the inner image you hold of yourself. Abdullah summed it up with brutal clarity. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are, and you are what you declare after the words, I am. If you say, I am poor, the subconscious responds, understood, and begins to sustain conditions consistent with that identity. If you say, I am unfortunate, it receives the command and acts accordingly. But when you observe wealth, success, or abundance and affirm internally, that is me, everything changes. Your subconscious receives a new instruction.
Una nueva versión de ti, y comienza.
It reorganizes behaviors, perceptions, decisions, coincidences, and circumstances to align them with that identity. But Abdullah went even further, teaching that creation is already finished, that everything you can imagine already exists in an invisible dimension. The wealth you desire already exists. The abundance you seek is already available. The money you need already has power. Even if you don't see it yet, your only job is to identify yourself with it, to silently say, that's me, and let the law do the rest. But Abdullah warned about a mistake that destroys everything, the mistake that almost everyone makes. Saying the 3 words at night and denying them during the day. Affirming abundance before going to sleep, but waking up saying, I don't have enough, everything is wrong, nothing changes. Abdullah summed it up like this: you can't be half pregnant, either you are or you aren't. If you declare a new identity and then contradict it, you interrupt the process. The 3 words only work when your internal state matches your declaration. You don't need to pretend to be wealthy. You don't need to put on appearances. Just maintain a silent calm, a quiet certainty that says, it's already done. I don't know how it will come. I don't know exactly when, but it's already done. That is who I am. Here comes the sacred secret again. The easiest way to protect your new identity is not to talk about it. When you stay silent, you don't invite others' doubts. You don't get mocked. You don't hear, that's impossible. Your assumption grows on its own, in silence like a seed underground, invisible, until one day it breaks the surface. Now understand something important. As you hear this, something has already changed in you. You aren't the same person you were at the start of this video. Something shifted, something awakened, something recognized a truth it already knew in silence. Abdullah taught that you don't need to believe perfectly to be transformed. You just need openness, attention, and inner availability. Your subconscious does the rest. It is already processing new ideas, already letting go of old limits, already preparing another version of your reality. That's why, in the coming days, pay attention. An unexpected call, a strange opportunity, a sudden idea, money coming from an unlikely source. Don't call it a coincidence. Abdullah would say, it's the law responding to your new state. Maybe you think that 3 words can't change a life, that it sounds too simple, and that's exactly where the secret lies. Most people look for complicated methods, long rituals, endless systems, because they believe that what is valuable must be difficult. But many times the most powerful truth fits in just a few words, and whoever holds on to it with faith changes. Abdullah did not seek fame, he did not build empires, he only taught 2 men, Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, and they brought that knowledge to the world. It all started in a small room in New York. It all started with an idea. It all started with 3 words. So from today on, remember, when you see abundance, that's me. When you imagine wealth, that's me. When you feel prosperity, that's me. Not tomorrow now, because in consciousness there is no distance between you and what you desire. It never existed, just an illusion. Today you can break it the same way Abdullah taught nearly 100 years ago, silently, in secret, with absolute faith. I am that.